So forget about making it do things it's not supposed to do. Simply detangling is gonna set you back a few hours. And that's where I'm coming from, saying that actually, yes, it is tricky to manage textured hair in its rawest form. In this video, we're answering the question, is natural hair difficult? Even stylists do not agree on this particular question or topic, so join me as we discuss and unpack this topic. All right, so before I get started, I just want to say that here we're talking about particularly type 4 natural hair, and also just understand this video is not aimed to make you hate your hair, dislike your hair, or change the way you think or feel about your hair. It's simply my opinion and my outlook on things when it comes to natural hair and this particular topic at hand, okay? So let's answer the question, is natural hair difficult to manage, type 4 natural hair? And yes, there's a lot of things to consider when answering this question. There's a lot of questions to ask within the question. However, if you're asking about Afro textured type 4 hair in its natural state, untempered in its rawest form, yes, natural hair does require more work, more skill, more know-how, more time, and more patience. Those things in and of themselves make it so that it's more challenging to manage. Because with type 4 textured hair, you're dealing with shrinkage, you're dealing with tangles, you're dealing with texture, and you're dealing with you're dealing with dryness, you're dealing with likely more high porosity hair. So yes, Afro 4C type 4 hair is more difficult to manage when compared to a looser curl, straighter hair, etc. Come for me if you want. I don't think Black women like facts. We like to lie to ourselves and feed ourselves whatever we want in our brains, negating the facts, okay? If I were to come out here and say, okay, these are the cons of type 4 hair, oh my God, people will eat me up. Oh, you can't say that, that's negative. No, it's just factual. In life, there are pros and cons to everything. So, like I said, this video is not made or meant for you to hate your hair or to have a negative connotation to your hair, but it's simply stating the facts and my opinions with regards to this topic. And you have to bear in mind that with type 4 natural hair, you can't just get up and go, okay? And that's where the difficulty comes in. You can't just have a shower and go, of which with other races or other hair types, you can see people literally just wash their hair and step out of the shower, come to work looking, very different with really flat hair that's wet and it dries as they work, okay? This is not something that you get with Black women. Black women don't do this. In fact, we can't. And honestly, we shouldn't. The hair is so textured, you can't just up and go. I mean, I remember times when I used to, allow my hair to shrink like that. Nightmare. The detangling was a mess. The breakage was a mess. Like going out of the shower straight into the world, that's fine. You can do that. Of course, that's fine. But then the aftermath, this is what I'm talking about. That's why I'm saying you shouldn't do it. The aftermath of detangling, the time, the patience involved is ridiculous. The single strand knots, it's a setback if you were to do that. And that's assuming that length is a goal of yours, okay? Now, of course, there is the other side of the coin where you can't leave the house because you don't feel confident, because people are going to give you an eye because they've never seen it before, they don't see it often. There is the idea that, the truth, the reality that if you step out like that, you're not going to be as accepted and, people are not going to treat you as well, So there's two sides of the story here. There's the fact that we can't go out because of those possible negative reactions that we'll get. But then there's the other one, which I'm more interested in. This one, it's a fact, it's true, we know about that. However, I'm talking about the other part of it, which is the manageability of it and the practicality of stepping out with no product straight from the shower, allowing your hair to shrink. Like if I allowed my hair to shrink, it would be like here. That would be a disaster. Now bear in mind that if you were someone that were to allow your hair to just grow it naturally, okay, don't touch it, you can touch it, but no detangling, no parting, no stretching, nothing. Just allow it to grow and do its thing, pretty much like freeform locks. You would have a breeze. You would have the time of your life with your hair. Like that would be the easiest hair to deal with. That would be the easiest hair to handle because there's no work. Like you're just allowing it to do, you don't mind the matting, you don't mind, like it's just matting away. It's forming locks, you don't have to detangle, you don't have to lay your edges, you don't have to part your hair. It's just free, like texture acceptance galore, all right? If you are that person, then natural hair, of course, it's not difficult. It's a breeze. So where I'm getting at with this point is that a lot of the difficulty with natural hair, right, comes from us styling it, stretching it, etc. Trying to make it do things that it naturally doesn't want to do, isn't meant to do, okay? However, that's not even what I am talking about in this video. If you try to make type 4C hair look like bone straight silk press, of course, it's gonna take a process, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take effort, skill, know-how, some heat damage on the way. It's tedious, it's exhausting, it's hard work. Yeah, that's difficult, okay? If you are that person, that's gonna be a difficult way of styling your hair. But again, once it's straightened and you're keeping it for, you know, a while, then it's probably not that difficult. However, the main thing I want to focus on this video with regards to the difficulty, okay? Because a lot of people say, no, natural hair is not difficult. The only difficult part of it is when we try to make it do things that it's not doing. Okay, fine, great. True. However, in here, we're not even talking about making it do things that it's not meant to do. We're talking just as simple as detangling. A lot of us talk about wash days, like washing the whole day. What are you doing washing the whole day? You're detangling, you're prepping, you're shampooing, you're hydrating, moisturizing, sealing, whatever. Like those things are not practices that alter the structure or the nature of your hair. It's not like you're trying to make it do something that it's not meant to do. You're simply taking care of it. Unless we're saying now that everybody should have freeform locks, of which I'm not in that club. So I think it's important for Black women to just also accept facts. It's factual. Type 4 hair is tricky to manage. That's why it took us years to learn it. That's why we've been relaxing it to manage it better. That's why we've got straight naturals and, you know, twisted naturals like myself and braided naturals and, you know, protective stylists to help manage the hair. Otherwise, it's so time consuming, right? So forget about making it do things it's not supposed to do. Simply detangling is gonna set you back a few hours, 30 minutes maybe, depending on the length of your hair, of course. Now, finger detangling, even worse, it takes longer. I encourage people to do it over time, over days, so that they're not stressed, okay? If you try to do it in one go, doing it all at once, that can really be stressful. But if you spread it out over the week, excuse me for the noise. If you spread it out over the week, that might reduce the pressure on you. However, again, it's either you're paying the time now or you're paying it later. Same thing with protective styles. Like, yeah, you put your hair away for 2 months or whatever. At the end of the 2 months, there is going to be a huge payment of time. So there is no escaping this thing called detangling or untangling the hair, particularly with kinky textured hair. And that's where I'm coming from, saying that actually, yes, it is tricky to manage textured hair in its rawest form. The reason we have wash and go naturals, for example, is because they have found a way to manage this detangling step. So they actually use gels to keep the hair in that form until they're ready to wash it again, and that keeps the tangles away. You're keeping the hair in that, you know, set form. It's set, so it's not free to tangle. The shed hairs are not free to walk up and down. It's not allowed to go into its true shrunken state. So somehow you're able to manage the tangling or the detangling process a little bit better. Also, Wash and Go Naturals wash every 10 days, 7 days or so, and that again allows them to not accumulate as many tangles. That way the detangling is a little bit easier. Everyone is trying to find ways to manage and find ways, I guess, around detangling specifically and caring for their hair in general. So let's talk about in detail what exactly makes 4C hair a little bit more challenging. Okay, I've spoken about the texture. You know, it's very coily. It's like, you know, intertwined within itself. Untangling that can be a challenge. You've got curls curling up on themselves, you've got single strand knots at the ends, you've got split ends, you name it. So the nature of the hair is just to tangle up. There's a huge issue here of mindset, and this one is big because a lot of us will not even deal with one little amount of frizz, okay? The edges and, oh, it has to be sleek all the time. This also adds to the stress of dealing with your 4C hair, because 4C hair by nature is just frizzy. It's got a lot of texture. So trying to tame it and make it look less frizzy also adds to the difficulty of natural hair. Also, your styling preferences make a difference, and they determine how easy or how difficult your hair will be to manage. For example, if you're twisted natural, braided natural, cornrowed natural, your lifestyle, your practices, your manageability is different. If you're wash and go natural, your efforts, how often you wash your hair, that's different. Straight natural, different. Protective stylist, different. So depending on the style or the style preference that you have, that will determine how much work you would have to put into your hair. If you wear your hair loose the majority of the time in twist outs, for example, if you don't use heat, for example, like that is probably one that is the most challenging, because you're not using anything to keep the hair or the tangles in place. Depending how often you wash, the tangles and the shed hair would have accumulated. You're dealing with shrinkage. You're dealing with a curl at the ends there, and yeah, there's potential that those ends will actually make single strand knots. So unless you use maybe a gel to stretch the ends, it could actually be, you know, something that it will need a little bit of work. So yeah, your style and how you wear your hair will actually improve or help you manage your hair better, okay? Of course, the more alterations and the more processing your hair needs, then the harder it is, and the less processing your hair needs, then the easier it is. So if you're someone that wears, say, not kinky, mini twists predominantly, your life won't be as difficult because, you know, the frizz is in there. Mini twists look pretty good. In fact, as they get older, you can actually style them well. You can put a bit of gel if the frizz is getting out of hand, etc., and then untangle, detangle as you go. But again, there is still a time trade-off. It's either you're doing time now or you're doing it later when it comes to natural hair, okay? You could have your hair in mini twists for a month, but at the end of that month, there will have to be some kind of detangling happening. A lot of people like to say, oh, natural hair is not difficult. And that's because they are influenced maybe by other people just to think that it's not difficult, or someone's maybe trying to gaslight you that actually, you know, it's difficult because you haven't accepted it. And maybe some people think that it is not as hard to manage because they have mastered their routines. They know how to deal with their hair better. So for them, it's actually a breeze, right? So you could be dealing with different individuals and that are at different stages in their natural hair journey. Now, here are some tips for you to manage your natural hair in its rawest form, all right? So these are for my curly naturals that just do shea butter and leave-in, and there's no styling products, and you're not using heat, etc. Sections. Work in sections, girl. Never, ever, ever try to deal with your hair as a whole. That can be an issue. I know for me, it is always an issue if I try to deal with my hair in its full like full, you know, state, if I can use that word, it's always a challenge. So use sections, 6 sections, whatever, 10 sections if you have to. Shampoo in sections, condition in sections, leave-in, moisturizing sections, style in sections. That'll just reduce the stress on you. Prevent tangles at all costs. Prevent tangles. Stretching, lubrication, just braiding the hair. Just don't allow the hair to shrink. You remember at the beginning of the video I spoke about just going from the shower to work without doing anything to your hair. Don't allow your hair to dry shrunken, okay? That'll be tangle galore, single strand on galore, breakage galore, you name it. Detangle over time. So if you're someone, say, who's done a protective style long term, or I don't know, you just don't have time to sit in one go, do it over time. So I encourage people to do dry detangling if your hair is well moisturized. I've done separate videos discussing this in detail. Go check them out. You can dry detangle over time. That way you're not stressed to complete your full head right now. Detangle one section, go about your day. Detangle one section, go about your day. When you're done, then you're done. In the meantime, you wear wigs like this, you know, head wraps. I share all these things in different videos, but doing things progressively, I know has helped me a lot to reduce the stress when it comes to dealing with my own hair. Become a twisted natural, braided natural. This helps you just deal with your hair in those tiny little sections rather than dealing with it as a whole. I've shared videos of this. I myself am a twisted natural, so yeah, I've shown you guys how to do it, and it's proven to really work and be helpful for me. Stretch the hair. I've already spoken about this briefly. I'm no longer gonna judge you if you use heat on your hair, okay? Use heat if you need to. If you're using it well and you're not allowing it to dry your hair, go ahead and do that. Whatever method, African threading, curl formers, flexi rods, braids, twists, bantu knots, whatever you do, stretch the hair. Don't allow for shrinkage to happen. Moisture, hydration, glycerin, castor oil. If you're type 4, try this out. It's gonna really tremendously just help the manageability of your hair. And finally, recycle your parts. I speak about this a lot, and people come on and say, I just came here to say that this doesn't work for everybody. Of course, nothing works for everybody, girl. And of course, like recycling parts, you don't have to have them forever and ever and ever. You can recycle your parts for a month, or recycle your parts for 3 months and then switch things up, and recycle for 6 months and switch things up. Whatever works, do that. But do some kind of recycling, because that will really, parting kinky textured hair is a mission. I'm just gonna say it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you part your hair and it's super easy, more life to you. But in my experience, And of course, it's a new day. I encourage Black women to embrace their hair and, you know, wear their hair in a way that they like, a way that they prefer, a way that boosts their confidence, that makes them feel good about themselves, that suits their face the best. Like, don't wear styles that you don't like. And in saying that, here are some options of different types of naturals that you can actually explore if you choose. And I'm hoping that this really does start to liberate us as Black women to just do what works. Hours and hours in our hair is, in my opinion, not sustainable. Like, I did it for a while and I'm a YouTuber, so I did it for years, right? I tried to make it work and I did make it work. You can still make it work, but when life changes, like having a son or becoming a mom, or things change. Like, all of a sudden priorities change. You don't have the same amount of time that you used to have. So here are some options of types of naturals that you can explore. The first one is becoming a blowout natural. Blowout naturals simply just blow their hair before going ahead to style, whether with a twist up, wash and go, whatever, braiding their hair, etc. And that just helps stretch the hair before dealing with it. So that's an option. Straight natural. So silk pressing your hair and wearing your hair like that for a while, that might help with the manageability. Of course, if you're going to do that, then you need to educate yourself and know what you're doing, particularly if you don't want heat damage and you want your curls to actually revert. So yeah, educate yourself before you proceed with that one. Protective styles, give us a break. I know people don't like protective styles these days. Oh, they're not protective, whatever. Okay, Let's not call them protective styles. Let's call them manageability styles. If you just need a break, girl, your mental health is important. Put your hair in some kind of crochet, weave, braid, whatever you need to take a break. Enjoy your hair, allow it to grow. Also, give it a break as well. So you're giving your hair a break and giving yourself a break as well. So switching things up can also just alleviate some of the, pressure that can come with looking after your textured hair. Wash and goes. There's a lot of people here doing wash and goes more these days, and that's fine. I would encourage, if that's what's working for you, please go ahead and do that. The only thing with wash and goes is you have to commit to washing your hair every 10 days or so. Because then, if you don't have gel or something holding your hair in place, the knots and tangles that will be in your hair, I am so sorry for you. You're not gonna like it. So that's something to explore as well. And finally, just explore shorter hair. This is something we don't speak about a lot. I know we love natural hair and we love long natural hair. However, I think it's important to say that, look, if it's too stressful, if it's too much for you, style shorter hair. You can enjoy shorter hair, look good in shorter hair. If that's what you need, particularly in your life, do that. I know, like, if I am 60 or 70, now I don't know if I'm gonna have long hair then. I probably need something I can just do this and off I go in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, don't feel like you have to have long hair. Long hair is hard work. I know a lot of us, we want waist length and tailbone hair. It's hard work. It's more longer detangling sessions. It's more hair, more length. It doesn't get easier with regards to dealing with the hair, because you're dealing with more hair and more length, okay? So just be aware of that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you found value. Comment below, let me know what you think about this video and your thoughts about your natural hair and how you are managing it better, okay? Until next time, it's Darius. Bye.